Good morning, students. Today's topic is socialistic pattern of society. This topic's objectives are to meet the partial fulfillment of the course curriculum and next to gain a professional experience and next to gain an export in CSR and to gain experience in dealing with professionals, sustainable management, and to get and explore in funding, implementing, and corporate agencies. These are the objectives, and next, the introduction of this topic socialistic pattern of society in India. India, under the guidance of Jawaharlal Nehru, had expected socialism as her goal. Socialism implies the social or collective ownership of the instruments of production. It means that the control of production and distribution must be in the hands or not or of private owners of capital, but of the community itself. And the socialistic pattern, orthodox communities equate community with the working class as a means to exercise this collective control. They argue the socialization of the key industries and all important means of production. But this transformation of society from capitalist ownership into socialism will not be the outcome of an evolutionary process. In this process, the Marx, the pioneer of scientific socialism, explained that as the works or the proletarian gain increasing control of the instruments of production, they will overthrow the capitalist and the properties class. And this is the Nehru, of course, never expected this thesis. That is why he preferred and adopted the rather ambiguous phrases a socialistic pattern instead of socialism. And this way, the one one may well look for a explanation of this hesitation and half-hearted compromise of the socialism. That is according to the resolution of Avedi session of the Congress. In fact, like many American and English thinkers, he chose to regard Marxism as imparticipable. He believed with Gandhiji in the possibility of revolution, that is, radical change of social order by consent, by appeal to the collective conscience of humanity. And this is the Gandhiji thought such strong moral pressure would be exerted on the capitalist that they would remain satisfied with only 12% profit and hold their wealth in trust for the entire society. This is broadly known as Gandhian socialization. A similar concept was advanced advanced years ago by the Fabian Socialistic, headed by Sydney and British Webb, George Bernard Shaw, and others. According to these idealistic thinkers, it will be possible to transfer control of the instruments of production from private owners to the community of workers with the help of the ballot box feminism. And this in the feminist in the recent thesis of a communist party, it has been asserted that it is not impossible to reach communism through peaceful democratic means. The pattern of socialism, what the pattern? The pattern of socialism that India under Nehru and to some extent under the Indira Gandhi looked forward to is not to be achieved by the forced liquidation of class interest but by their gradual elimination. This may be by a gradual change of heart, such as Acharya Vinoba Bhave contemplated, but failing this resource must be had a legislative measures. And in the initial stage, private capital will not be liquidated, but restaurant while the welfare of the workers will be gradually safeguarded and raised to more human standards. The instruments of production will be taken over by the state after payment or compensation to their present owners. Mines, public sector, steel industries, etc. And the oil production, life insurance, and banks were nationalized by stages. It is pointed pointed out that landlordism has already been abolished and the reserve bank and the railways have been nationalized, and this step were being taken to introduce cooperative farming instead of all scale farming under individual management. It was claimed that by gradual winding of the scope of these legislation, the country will be socialized without the painful process of a blood, bloody revolution. So the government started buying shares of big industries, up to more than 50% to control them, and that a public sector is slowly developing in the Indian economy is a fact. It is the characterized characteristics of the economy almost of every underdeveloped country. Ours is, however, a mixed economy in which the private sector is still predominant. The private sector roughly accounts for more than 75% of our economy. Planning needs of a socialistic pattern cannot be met so long as the private sector is so immensely large. And this sector, private sector, is that the production will be in the large regulated. Production will be regulated by the needs of community and methods of distribution will be developed to bring consumer goods within reach of the greatest number. For this purpose, private profits have to be controlled and the interest of individuals must give way to the interest of the community. These are the community. It sounds very well as far as it goes, but it may be doubted whether the process of change over will be so smooth where private ownership is being liquidated. It is not in favor of the community but of the state. This is the production will be regulated this time. The state will use its resources in the interest of the class, which control its machinery. It is now obvious from the fact that in the various so called socialistic measures, no effort is made to transfer control to the community of workers, and these are the state. Hence, we cannot overlook the danger that lie in this pattern of socialism that has so far emerged. Recently, a counter tendency has surfaced. Dr. Manmohan Singh, the finance minister of the earlier 90s, advocated allowing liberal investment of foreign capital in our country. Thus, multinational business and industry have got off to a brick start here. It is apprehended that in no distant future the multinationals and the interested only in profits, but without any national mooring, will create a financial crisis. The pattern is also slowly emerging that under a mixed economy, we are suffering from the limitation of socialism without its benefits, and our rights are being slowly cul- cultured. But in exchange of this, these are not adequately benefited in the meantime. Price index in going up. In this interested, the hence it seems that certain fundamental steps have to be taken in a genius socialistic pattern is to emerge effective association of the working class with the management in both state owned and private industries must be achieved. And this type of private industries will the minimum living wage for the workers must be statutory, statutorily determined. Opportunity for employment must expand, and mere abolition of landlordism will make no differences unless the tiller and are versed with ownership of land. And this is the workers must be made to feel that the instrument of production, whether land or machinery, will be used in the interest of those who worked there, unless a progressive policy in regard to these matters is taken in brand within a few years. Socialistic pattern for our country may provide to be an illusion. In his address to the National Development Council on November 9, 1954, Prime Minister Nehru observed that India should achieve a socialistic pattern of society, a society which is neither socialistic, communist, or not capitalist. In his address, he says the Avadi session of the Indian National Congress approved this policy. This is not a new policy. It does not contemplate a violent break with the past, and it is in accordance with the broad aims of public policy set out in the preamble and the directive principles of our constitution. And it is also claimed that this new policy is perfectly compatible with the Constitution of the Congress. Further, this policy was implicit in the stand taken by the Congress from the days of its Karachi session or even earlier. The decision of the Lok Sabha and the Avati Congress only give a precious and definite shape to that position. And that position, what is the socialistic pattern of society? The Prime Minister Nehru expressed his inability to give a comprehensive definition of this term, but observe that it would be a welfare state, an equalitarian society in which there would be no domination of our one over the other. The reduction and elimination, as far as may be, of inequalities, especially in the economic share, will be one of its major and distinctive features. This is the equalitarian society, and this society, the society is not based on any dogma or doctrine because it is not a socialistic but socialistic pattern of society. The votaries of socialism build up a socialistic doctrine and say that if socialism is to be practiced effectively, it should be followed from A to Z. And this is the subsidiary subsidiaries objectives of this society are that the standard of living must be raised, full employment must be progressively achieved, large industries initiated and operated, and an overall control over the resources of the country should be obtained for social purpose. And this subsidiary, the further arches industrial development should be checked by maintenance of strategic control. And this is the economy policy. The economy policy to achieve these objectives. The government of India adopted a definite economic policy contained in the industrial policy resolution of 1948. The principles basis of this revolution is mixed economy. And this type of economy, according to this resolution, industries are classified into three sectors, which are the three sectors in public sector, national, and private sector, and divided into three sectors. In the first are included post and telegraphics, railways, and defense industries, which must be the exclusive monopoly of the state. And the position of the communists on this question is somewhat dovish. They hope to capitalize on national sentiments when they recommend the nationalization of coal plantations and mag- magnets owned by the British. And this is the position of the communist. And the next is the position they do not want immediate nationalization of jute and sugar industries. They lay great emphasis on the nationalization of coal because the country is deficient in metricular coal. They do not demand the overall nationalization of banking and insurance, but would like the foreign banks to be taken over. This is the immediate nationalization. And we see the logically payment of compi- compensation. Compensation is not justifiable, but all logic is not pragmatic. The consequence of confiscation of property will be the distress of the country. The Sudan disappearance of financial expectations would bring into existence a dissolute loyal community who may resort to sabotage. In this logical payment, the directive ranks of the industry may tout sub supervised method, and Michaelis said that a man may forgive the murder of his father, but not the confiscation of his property, nor the abduction of his wife. In this, The Rudy of Valley and the Rafana was owning to the fact that they tried to appropriate to themselves the wives of Sugriv and Ram. Wisdom, therefore, dictates that no disappointment should be caused to the present owners of property. In this property, the country may pay higher price in money, but the gain in the consequent goodwill is always more than the value of the money paid. And the country may pay higher price in money, but the gain in the consequent goodwill is always more than the value of the money paid. In other words, what is most essential is the maintenance of goodwill. When we are seeking to the transform the existing capitalist society into a socialistic one, the more goodwill. And there are precedents to this. In 1833, West Indies owners of slaves were paid compen- compensation morally. There was no justification for the payment of compensation, but on grounds of expediency, it was done. Even the Russian government observed these principles, and there are the normal and their uh, place of a big landowns pour, pour out and against the revolutionary government and run away, leaving their properties behind. A few years after the revolution, the government decided so pay compensation to all property owners. These property owners, in place of violence, and are we to conclude from the above that violence is ruled out for all time to come, and that changes in the economic domain can be brought about by peaceful method. In this peaceful method, what Nehru says here is significant. In this significant, normally, if democracy is not functioning, particular, politically, and there is no way but to bring about their things by some kind of pressure, trading, and violence or violent re- revolution. But when there is some peaceful method available and when there is adult suffrage, the use of violence for changing the existing order is not only absurd, but the this is the wholly wrong to many thinking people. And the try to change society by violence only means that a small number of people are trying to impose their will on a large number by violent methods having failed to change them by a peaceful methods. That is not democracy. And here is a significant difference between the socialistic and communists. On the one and other hand, the Congress on the other. At the moment, the Socialistic Party is still of the Marxist approach and is therefore like a rudderless boat. This is not the case with the adherents of communism. Is the communism is the socialistic party, and this is the topic of we take. This is the like of socialistic pattern of societies, and the some reference is there. These references is help to read this topic more. And the end of this topic, we see the MCQ questions in this topic. First of all, we see the first question: social problem means. What is the social problem? State of affairs, moral approach to problem, personal problem, family problem. What is the answer? The answer of this question is state of affairs. This is the right answer of this question. And the next question is a pattern of behavior that constitutes is called social problem, economic problem, political problem, and religious problem. What type of problem in a pattern of behavior that constitutes? The answer of this question is social problem. Social problem is a pattern of behavior that constitute. And the next question is which of the following is characteristics of socialism? Social problem. The social problem first option is it affects on a large section of a society and always creates frustration. Frustrations always create, and none of the above, and all of the above. What is the answer? The answer of this question is it affects on a large section of a society. This is the answer of this question. And the next question is, which of the following is not characteristic of social problem? First option is generally regarded harmful for the society. Secondly, it has effect on a large section of a society. And the next is develops gradually and slowly. And the last option is all of the above. The answer of this question is develops gradually and socially. This is the not characteristics of social problem. And the next question is, which of the following is not source of social problem? Social change, property, personal development, personal disorganization. Which of the following is not source of social problem? The answer is this question is personal development. We take our personal development is not source of social problem. And the next question is, density of population is very much related to which type of population is very much related? Climate, political system, environmental study, economic condition. This is the density of population is the answer of this question is climate. Climate is the density of population is very much related. And the next question is delinquency is a juvenile misconduct that might be dealt with under the law. Federal lender, crial bird, Orgburn, Memoria. What is the right answer? The right answer of this question is federal lender is the right answer of this question. And the next question is, which is the social cause of juvenile delinquency? The answer of this question options are broken homes, poverty, beggary, and all of the above. The answer of this question is all of the above. These all are the social cause of the juvenile delinquency. And the next question, which is the social cause of juvenile delinquencies, broken home, poverty, beg- beggary, and all of the above. The answer of this question is all of the above. And the next question is, which is an institution to rehabilitate juvenile delinquent? The options are juvenile court, remand homes, foster homes, and all of the above. The answer of this question is all of the above. It is the last question of this topic. And the all about of this topic, socialistic pattern of society, and the end of this topic. Thank you.